have with me business and public affairs analyst, Mr. Adewale-Smatt. He joins me now in the studio here. Thank you for joining me. It's good, compliment of the day. It's good to have you in the studio here again today. And how did you celebrate? I'm sure you were able to buy fuel, you were able to travel freely, you were able to, I mean, the movement was free for you.
Well, I had no option. I mean, I don't have the time to go and queue for the cheaper fuel. So I went for the more expensive one.
Which is the black market?
But it's not black market. It's not black market. I bought straight from the pump. And in a licensed petrol, service station for that matter. So it was 250 per liter. And I bought 40 liters for 10,000 naira. So my plan was to go and hide myself somewhere so I could sleep. So there was so much stress everywhere. So I checked into one hotel in Neca, and I came from there this morning.
Interesting. I mean, the reason why I asked...
I'm not looking well rested.
You're looking well rested. I mean, the reason why I asked is the fact that, I mean, one of the stories here pointed out that that is, of course, Neca, Nigerian Consultative Association, talking to federal government or asking the federal government, to unravel the scam behind subsidy. And they said, based on what they are saying now, is because the reason why we're having queues, I mean, at this time we're not supposed to have queues in the filling stations, but you're having that, prior to the U-tide, you were having, and even the people had to buy from the black market, and the price went as high as 250 or 300 naira as well from the black market. I mean, how concerned are you? At this time, we're still talking about subsidy
my advice
scam.
to Neca is very simple. They should not hide behind the finger and play the ostrich. This didn't start this year. It has become a recurring decimal in our life, especially during Unitide, that we now plan, to suffer for fuel along with buying chicken and rice at higher prices. So they shouldn't be asking, because nobody will talk to them. We have the Minister of Petroleum who is not talking to nobody. So please, let them just go and see what they can do to keep their enterprises running while preparing for the next election, when hopefully we have a new government with new intentions, and then we can begin to set agenda for them.
You said it's not necessary to talk about or to comment on this situation.
Now, I have spent the last 4 weeks on different TV and radio platforms addressing the same issues. Now, for all that I've said, nothing has changed. Okay? If not because of my interest in IBrand, I saw them selling fuel somewhere in Ojota, I would have just parked there and wait some 2 hours and be sure I'll get the 170 naira fuel. You understand? That's the way we've just been so pushed to live like that. It would have been different if we have a government that responds, to people's yearnings and questions. But nobody is talking. And then you don't continue asking questions when you are sure no answer will be forthcoming. That's why I said they should not bother talking. Let's focus on a few months from now. We're expecting a new government. So let's focus on enlightening our people, especially the people in the village and not the lower class people. Let them know why they have to vote right. So that if we're able to vote right and get in the right person into the office, we can look forward to a better life.
Just before you get to the, election, I am optimistic that the more we talk, more Nigerians come out to talk about what is perhaps
are you now
the
saying
challenge
that the concerned people
that will put pressure on the government?
Are we saying that the people who are concerned are deaf, dumb, and blind? They cannot feel, they cannot see, they cannot hear the soft protest already. That people are suffering. We don't have to be flogging a horse that is already dead. It is time wasting. And if we spend time from here till tomorrow around the same issue, we don't get any answer. It's not within my purview. I can't do anything about it. Neither can you. And people out there, they already know. They're not expecting to hear anything. They're always trotting on and struggling and keeping themselves going and trying to just make do with it. Like I said, keeping their hopes alive.
Also digress a bit, but I'm optimistic that the more we talk, the more the government will have to, wake up to its souls and then answer the people. But let me digress a little bit. Recently, President Buhari came out and talk about what he's done and the legacy he's leaving behind. I'm sure you followed that development.
And he was sufficiently replied.
Yes, but he talked about the fact that he's done his best. His best may not be good enough.
No, he also said that he also said
in terms of
in that
economy
speech that his best, okay,
yes,
has not been good enough.
He may not be good enough.
But I'm confirming now. Yeah. Remove that may. The reality is his best has not been our best, so it's not been good enough. I don't want to say that his best has been our worst, okay, but it's not been our best.
Okay, let's look at other story. I mean, the conversation continues here.
I will advise you to go and read the interview of Reverend Father Matthew Kuka. Okay.
Then I follow what he
so
said. I mean,
he has. I mean,
he just Father Kuka is just one of Nigerians like you,
concerned
Nigerian like he just
and
the way
he
he's speaking.
He meant well.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, he's not a businessman who wants to make super profits and has been denied the opportunity. Okay, maybe perhaps he's aggrieved and then he's talking. No, it's a clergy, but he's feeling the whatever is feeling around the town, the pain, the sorrow, the anguish, the disappointment, the failure. So, and he said, I mean, we were well represented when he said in the area of infrastructure, he could score the president some marks. But in every other area,
right.
Is it in security? Is it in the economy? Dollar was 185 in 2015. Today, it flouts between 750 and maybe 800. What do we say to that? And people will tell you, it's not anybody's, it's somebody's problem. Because we voted him in, we had problems. We were looking for a help, a Messiah. And he said he was coming to tackle insecurity, being a retired general that we all knew. And then he promised to build a refinery, one every year. This is the
I would like us
year.
to pause on that note. We're going to be talking extensively later on the show.
That's why I said,
but let's look at
you don't discuss it at all.
Let's look at one of these Trinidadian stories which talk about bank verification, which of course the CBN says that they monitor about over 6,000 account are being placed on a watch list at the moment. What does it tell you about the banking system that we have in Nigeria? Because as I speak to you, we still have record of fraud in the banking system. I had a record of people whose money has been taken off,
yeah.
wipe completely.
Yeah.
I mean, the issue of cybersecurity, it's something that we should look out for in the new year. But talk to us about this particular story.
I'll go it this way. There is never going to be a private institution anywhere, okay? Not even in the developed climes where people assume they are sinner. No. So cyber fraud, hacking, phishing, and all of them, they are with us, and they will be with us for as long as there is life. The point is, those who should safeguard, who must be a step ahead of the hackers and the fraudsters, what are they doing? Are they up and running? What alarm system are they putting whereby any attempt to hit any account, okay, there will be an alarm that will alert them and they can immediately do something about it. A friend of mine some 4 years back had some guys, they said they came from Gombe. He sells rice in bags. They came to negotiate for trailer loads of rice. The provider said on Tuesday, by Friday, they transferred money into his account. He received the alert. Saturday morning, they came to load, and they loaded by Saturday night. About 4 trailers left his warehouse. By Monday morning, by Sunday night, the alert was reversed. It now became a big deal between him and his bank, because who would he have called on Friday night to confirm the payment? Okay, but then it was still very novel, right? So it became a big deal. Those guys went away into thin air. Till today, they couldn't be tracked. So such lacunas ought by now to have been closed. If you are my banker, what you have told me is my money is safe with you, that nothing will happen to my money. So if there's a leak or a leakage in your system that allows fraudsters to hit my account and take my money away, you got to pay for it.
I do know that the CBN has a department that takes care of
of
such
that.
complaints.
Yeah, I also know.
I mean, once a customer gets, frauded or whatever happened to the account,
your ATM, you want to payment from ATM without you being paid, you get debited.
Because
if you report to CBN,
yes,
within 24 hours you get your money back.
I think that's just the way
that one is working.
But what I want to say before we move to the next story is that now we have the likes of softwares are there. I mean, the technology has advanced. You have the AI, artificial intelligence. You can use artificial intelligence, weave security around it to detect fraud. These are some of the things we have to do.
You know the funniest thing? The guys behind these things are not necessarily graduates or high capacity academicians. No, they're the regular guys on the street. But they've gotten themselves into IT so much that they know how to manipulate virtually anything.
Right.
So if an individual is not careful, of course, some will send you a mail, some will call you with some strange numbers, some will be asking you lousy questions. If you are not smart and you make a slip, well, you will pay for it. This too for banks, they have to do a lot more than they are doing to build the confidence of their customers. Let it not happen that my money will be safer under the ground or in my pillow than in the bank's vault. So they need to do a lot more. And that's it. It's a global problem. It happens everywhere.
Let's move to the next story. The World Bank is asking the CBN. I mean, you remember earlier in the year, the country went through the issue of a forest crisis that even dollars are not, were not accessible at that time. Even up till now, so you have different windows about that. But what the World Bank is saying now is that perhaps the CBNs should start reviewing some of the policies that regards the monetary policy in with regards to addressing the disparities in the foreign exchange market as well. So one of the tools of the policy that came out this year is the R200 that encourage repatriation of over 200 billion US dollars. So it's like the World Bank is telling CBN, look, I think you need to start reviewing some of these policies. What's their position on this?
It is not a secret that the policies have not been working or are not working. You take it from inflation, from increased unemployment and loss of jobs, okay, to virtually what I would call crippled economy, which now gives rise to naira, always at the mercy of the dollar, which of course is because we do very little production.
Right.
Unfortunately, we are an import-dependent consumer nation. Virtually everything here gets imported. But the one that pains me most, which would have been our life wire, is exporting crude oil in this day and age. You would have expected a responsible country like Nigeria, with all our resources, both natural, human, and financial, being able to put up, if possible now, not the massive refineries, modular refineries in the 6 regions, whereby each region knows where to get their
I think that has been approved.
Not only that, it should have been done 6-7 years ago. And that by now, we will have stopped exporting crude oil. Okay? Not a case now that we export our crude oil. We now go back to go and buy the finished product at a higher price. So we are now at the mercy of the market, the global market. It shouldn't be like that. And that for me is the killer. Because unless we get that angle right, whether you have a car or you don't have a car, you must commute. Mobility is an essential part of humanity. Now you are made to pay more. Ibadan, for Neca, this morning they were charging 4,000 naira. That's a drive of less than 1 hour. Because the road is good now. But what would they tell you? Cost of fuel. And it bears common sense. How a country like Nigeria by now will not have a functional refinery. Unfortunately for us, we've all resigned our faith, and then we are waiting for our savior, Aliko Dangote, to start his refinery, forgetting that is a businessman, and the motive basically first is to make profit. So we cannot erode him into selling below his cost.
So essentially, this particular policy or scheme has not really impacted on the forex market.
I mean, it's been very adverse, it's been very negative. So much that our forex position is like yo-yo. You know, you can't determine, you cannot sit. Before, you could sit in your office and project financial positions. But now, if you do, you are wasting your time. Because the elements that determine the fundamentals, they are not within your control. And they will affect it. That's the way it is.
Let's look at this next story before we close this chapter of conversation. Looking at, I think that's also dovetailing into the airfares that have gone up, and of course the cost of energy as well.
Why will it not go up?
Domestic airfares soar by 97%. That's according to Nigeria.
Because the cost of aviation fuel also hit the roof. It hit the sky. So they must respond. They are not in business for charitable reasons. They are in business to make money, provide service. And I told you before we came on air that anytime you are solving a problem, they are solving mobility problem. The roads, you cannot go to Abuja by road anymore. You cannot go by rail. Okay? So what option do we have? We fly. And now the aircraft, don't forget, they were brought in from somewhere. And in foreign exchange, not in Naira. And then all the services, all the part replacement, everything, the sea checks and everything, and all the checks they do, they pay in dollar. So now that the cost of aviation fuel also hit the sky, it's only natural they respond to it. I'm even surprised that you are losing 73,000 naira. Because by my estimation, it should be about 120,000 naira for I mean,
one way just a comparative
because your figure is not realistic.
I mean, the recent figure, of course, as at yesterday, we saw between Abuja and to some part of the south went as high as 100,000 for Eric and some other.
That's why you quoted your figure as well. I didn't want to antagonize you.
But this, of course, by NBS, it captures comparatively between 2021 and now.
I love what the NBS is. Lately, they've been very responsive. They've been releasing figures that you will have thought, oh, because it's a government organization, that they will not. But they've been giving us figures. Those figures, they reflect the reality facing us. Particularly when they told us that about 130 million people are now living below poverty line. They came out boldly. Before it was 90. Now, government said they will move 30 million or what figure out of poverty. But instead, more people have been entrenched and buried in poverty. And that is reflective in the report by the MBS.
I think we're going to talk about that in a moment, but let's quickly take a break. I know you will join us later on, but we won't take a break now. When we come back, of course, we'll look at the stock market and, of course, the Christmas bullish run and investors' position ahead of the year 2023. What experts say in regards to that. So, thank you so much, Adewale-Smatt Oyerinde. Stories, I'll let you go now, but we'll take a break and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Thank you.